$4.27 billion. That's the projected global market size for hair removal wax in 2025.
Wow.
Seriously, let that sink in for a second. Okay, you're probably thinking what I was. There's like a lot more going on here than you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
So for this deep dive, we've got this extensive global market report on hair removal wax. And our mission really is pretty simple.
Cut through the noise.
Exactly. Cut through the noise, pull out the key trends, the growth spots, and just, the real story behind this surprisingly huge industry.
Absolutely, because we want to get past just the headline numbers and really understand the underlying dynamics, right? What's shaping this market and driving all this expansion?
Totally. We're not just going to throw figures at you. We want to understand why it's so big and, well, where it seems to be headed. So let's start with that big number again, $4.27 billion in 2025. What's the forecast looking like beyond that point?
Well, the report shows some pretty significant growth ahead. It's projecting the global market will reach USD 962.21 million by 2033.
Whoa, that's nearly double.
It's a substantial increase, yeah. Over the next, 8 or 9 years.
So what kind of growth rate are we talking about? To get there, I mean.
The compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, is pegged at a pretty healthy 8.10% from 2025 through to 2033.
8%, consistently.
Yeah. And if you put that in perspective, an 8% annual growth rate year on year, it can nearly double the market size in about 9 years. So it really points to a robust and sustained expansion.
Okay, robust growth. But what's particularly interesting is why, right?
So that's the key question.
That's the engine driving all this.
Well, a major factor is the increasing preference for at-home grooming.
Ah, okay.
Think about it. It's convenient, it's private, and frankly, the wax products themselves are getting much more user-friendly. So more people are just taking hair removal into their own hands.
That totally tracks. I mean, especially when you think about how much easier and maybe less intimidating at-home waxing has become compared to, say, a decade ago.
Definitely.
Now, geographically speaking, where is all this waxing action concentrated?
So currently, North America holds the biggest slice of the pie. It accounts for over 40% of the global market in 2025.
40%.
Yeah, the value there is about USD 238.30 million. And it's not just the current size. The projected CAGR through 2033 is a solid 6.5%, so it indicates continued growth even in a mature market.
Okay, North America's leading. Are there particular countries really driving that within the region?
Yeah, the United States is definitely the dominant force inside North America. For 2025, the market size there is USD 977.02 million, and the projected CAGR is 6.3%.
Okay.
Canada follows with a USD 148.60 million market, but actually a slightly higher CAGR at 7.3%. And Mexico comes in at USD 112.69 million with a 7.0% CAGR.
So the U.S. is the powerhouse, but Canada and Mexico are definitely adding to that overall North American growth picture.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Now, Europe, usually a big player in beauty trends, right? Where do they stand in the hair removal wax market?
Europe holds a really significant share, too, over 30% of the global market in 2025, which amounts to about USD 124.80 million.
Still pretty substantial.
Yeah, and their projected CGR is 6.6% to 2033. It shows, a mature market that's still expanding at a pretty respectable pace.
Got it. Any specific countries in Europe that are, worth highlighting?
Oh, absolutely. The UK, for instance, has a market of USD 172.17 million and a strong CAGR of 7.4%. Germany is even larger at USD 202.91 million with a 6.8% CGR.
Okay.
Then you got France at about $94 million, 5.8% CGR. Italy around $88 million, 6.0%. Russia's quite large at $158 million, but a slightly lower CGR of 5.6%. And Spain is around $84 million with 5.7% growth.
Wow, so it's a real mix across Europe, different sizes, different growth rates.
Definitely a diverse picture there.
Okay, definitely a lot happening. Now let's pivot. Let's turn our attention to a region often linked with, rapid economic growth. Asia Pacific. What's the situation with hair removal wax there?
Right, Asia Pacific is where things get really, really interesting from a growth perspective.
Okay.
So while their market share in 2025 is around 23%, putting it at USD 1579.90 million, their projected CGR from 2025 to 2033 is, it's a remarkable 10.0%.
10%? Wow.
Yeah, that makes it the fastest growing region for hair removal wax globally. Think about that double-digit growth consistently in such a large market.
Okay, 10%. That's a game changer. What's actually driving that explosive growth in Asia Pacific?
Well, it's a few things coming together. You've got rising disposable incomes across many countries in the region, right? so more consumers just have the money to spend on personal care.
Makes sense.
There's also a growing awareness of, let's say, global grooming standards, maybe a greater emphasis on personal aesthetics. And plus, like we mentioned before, the increasing accessibility of products through online channels, that's playing a huge role there too.
Okay, so rising incomes, awareness, online access. Which specific countries are leading this surge? Who are the key players over there?
So China is currently the largest market in the region. It's at USD 663.56 million in 2025, with a really robust CAGR of 9.5%.
Still huge growth.
Yeah, but India really stands out. Its market size is smaller, USD 157.99 million, but it has the highest CAGR among the major countries, a striking 11.9%.
11.9.
Japan also has a substantial market, USD 218 million, 8.5% CAGR. South Korea, about $190 million, 9.1%. Australia, around $82 million, 9.3%. And even Singapore, smaller market at $31.6 million, but showing impressive growth with a 10.3% CAGR.
It really sounds like a dynamic and just rapidly expanding landscape over there.
It really is.
So Asia Pacific is definitely the growth engine for this market, it seems. What about the other regions like South America, the Middle East, Africa? Are they seeing growth too?
They are, yeah. South America accounts for just over 5% of the global market in 2025.
Yeah.
That's about USD 162 million, with a projected CAGR of 8.5%. Brazil and Argentina are key markets there, both with key GRs over 9%.
Still strong growth.
Definitely. The Middle East has around a 2% share in 2025, about $170 million, but an 8.6% CAGR.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia and the UAE are showing strong performance, again around 9% CAGR.
Okay.
And Africa, while it has a smaller share, maybe around 1% in 2025, about $94 million, it still demonstrates a respectable 7.8% CAGR overall. South Africa is the leading market there with about 8.7% growth.
So, okay, while they're smaller in overall share compared to, say, North America and Europe, these regions also present some pretty significant growth opportunities then.
Absolutely. There's potential across the board.
Okay, so we've got a much clearer picture now of the market size and, where the growth is really happening. Now, let's dig into the why a bit more. What are the fundamental factors really fueling this demand for hair removal wax?
Well, the core driver, as the report puts it, is the increasing demand for smooth, hair-free skin. And this isn't just like a fleeting trend.
Right.
It's deeply connected to, well, evolving beauty standards, definitely, but also greater disposable income, which allows people to spend more on grooming products and services, and just a general rise in grooming awareness across different demographics.
And social media probably plays a role.
Oh, huge. Social media plays a significant role in shaping these ideals. And like we discussed, the availability of effective at-home solutions just makes achieving that look more accessible than ever before.
That makes perfect sense. Are there other factors contributing to this growth as well?
Yeah, another crucial element is the advancements in organic, painless, and hypoallergenic waxes.
Ah, the products themselves getting better.
Exactly. Consumers are increasingly conscious, about what they put on their skin. They're actively looking for natural, gentler alternatives, especially if they have sensitivities.
Mm-hmm.
And technological innovations are leading to wax formulations that are just more effective and, importantly, less painful. The report actually highlights Lycon Cosmetics introducing organic hard wax beans with chamomile and lavender.
Oh, interesting example.
Yeah, that speaks directly to this demand for a more sort of natural and comfortable experience.
So it's not just about getting rid of hair anymore. It's about how you do it and what's in the product.
Precisely.
And I imagine the way we shop, how we buy things now, has also played a role.
Absolutely. The widespread online availability of hair removal wax has been a major catalyst. It's just increased accessibility massively. It's broadened the reach of all sorts of brands beyond just, local stores. And it gives consumers this vast array of choices right at their fingertips.
Convenience and choice, yeah, those are powerful drivers. Okay, so with all this positive momentum, are there any headwinds? Anything kind of slowing things down?
Yes, the report does point to a couple of key restraints. One is simply numerous brands already out there. It creates a highly competitive environment.
Okay, crowded market.
Very. And this intense competition can make it really challenging for new companies to gain traction. It can also put pressure on profit margins for everyone because of, pricing pressures and the difficulty of building strong brand loyalty when there's so many options.
So a very competitive landscape. What's the other potential hurdle mentioned?
The other factor is the issue of allergic reactions.
Ah,
Unfortunately, some individuals can experience adverse reactions to certain ingredients in waxes, and that can understandably deter them, or potential customers, from using these products.
which probably circles back to why those hypoallergenic and natural formulations are becoming so important, as you said earlier.
Exactly. It addresses a key concern for a segment of consumers.
Okay, that's a valid point. Now, looking ahead, what are some of the really key trends that are shaping the future of the hair removal wax market?
Well, a really significant trend is the growing demand for chemical-free, skin-friendly waxes. This just reinforces what we've already touched on about consumer preferences.
Hmm.
There's a clear movement towards organic and plant-based options. It aligns perfectly with the broader clean beauty trend, where consumers are prioritizing natural ingredients and transparency about what's in their products.
So that natural and organic wave is definitely hitting the hair removal aisle hard.
Hmm.
That's another key trend we should be watching.
Another important one is the increased preference for DIY hair removal products, doing it yourself at home.
Right, the at-home trend again.
Yeah, and this is being fueled by a combination of things. It's often more cost-effective than going to a salon. It's convenient. You do it on your own schedule in private. And honestly, the quality and ease of use of these at-home waxing kits and products have improved significantly.
Makes total sense. Why pay a premium for a salon appointment if you feel you can get good results yourself?
Exactly.
Now, the report also mentioned something about the Liberation Day tariffs introduced in 2025. Can you unpack how those are impacting this specific market?
Yes, these tariffs. They were implemented by the U.S. with the stated goal of reducing trade deficits. But they've created ripples across various industries, including consumer goods like hair removal wax.
How so?
Well, these tariffs range pretty widely, from 10% up to maybe 46% on certain imported goods. There's a significant 34% tariff on many products coming specifically from China.
Ouch.
Yeah. And given how interconnected global supply chains are, especially in Asia and China, these tariffs inevitably have a broad impact.
So how does this directly affect, say, a company making or selling hair removal wax?
Well, tariffs increase the cost of imported raw materials, ingredients, packaging, maybe even finished products for manufacturers and brands.
Okay.
This can lead straight to higher production costs, it can cause delays in sourcing materials, and ultimately it contributes to inflation, higher prices down the line. For personal care products like wax, which often rely on globally sourced ingredients.
Like resins or essential oils. Yeah.
Exactly. Or specific types of packaging. These tariffs can mean higher costs for businesses and potentially higher prices for consumers.
So we might actually see the price of our favorite wax going up because of this.
That's a distinct possibility, yeah. The report really emphasizes that China remains a critical sourcing hub for so many industries. So tariffs on Chinese goods are particularly disruptive. And smaller brands, the ones that often have less financial flexibility to just absorb these increased costs, they might be forced to raise prices more noticeably, which could impact their competitiveness.
It sounds like a really complex situation for businesses to navigate. How are companies trying to deal with these tariff challenges?
Well, businesses are having to get much more strategic about their sourcing and their operations overall.
Okay.
This means doing more in-depth market research to really map out their supply chains, analyze cost structures, maybe even redesign products to use more locally sourced materials where possible.
Shifting strategies.
Yeah, and exploring alternative sourcing locations, that's known as nearshoring, or sometimes in-market for market production.
Yeah.
Basically trying to reduce reliance on those heavily tariffed regions.
Interesting.
Plus, we're seeing companies adopt technologies like AI for better, more accurate demand forecasting. And there's a bigger focus on building strong relationships with a more diversified base of suppliers, just to mitigate risks.
So a lot of adaptation, a lot of strategic rethinking happening behind the scenes, mainly because of these tariffs.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the brands we actually see on the shelves or online. Who are the major players in this competitive hair removal wax market?
Right, the market's described as highly competitive. You've got these really well-established global brands that most people would recognize, like Veet, Nair, Gigi, Parisa, Sally Hansen.
Yeah, the big names.
Exactly. But alongside these giants, there's a growing presence of newer brands. Often they're more niche, focusing on specific things like organic ingredients or cruelty-free formulations.
Okay.
And innovation in the waxes themselves. Different formulations like hypoallergenic options, sugar-based waxes, different forms of hard wax like beads versus strips, That's a key driver of competition, too.
And the selling channels.
And, as we've discussed, e-commerce and these direct-to-consumer brands are really shaking things up, challenging the traditional retail models more and more.
So it's a real mix of established powerhouses and maybe more agile newcomers. The report listed quite a few of the top companies, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It identifies a pretty broad range of key players. Let's see, Church & Dwight, Coty Inc., Edgewell Personal Care, Fidel Grohellas, Fela Bianco, Harley Waxing, Harry's Inc., Jack's Wax Australia,
Wow, okay.
Toll & NC, L'Oreal, Marketing Brokers Australia, Maystar, Parisa Labs, RDM Care India, Reckitt Benckiser, Rika Spa, S.I.N.D. Ost, Thalgo, the Darrant Wax Comb, and Zanatelia SRL.
That's a really comprehensive list. It definitely underscores how competitive that landscape is.
For sure.
Okay, now let's try and break down the market by different product segments. First up, looking at soft wax versus hard wax. What are the key trends there?
Okay, so within the soft wax category, soft wax cream currently holds the largest market share.
Cream wax. Why is that?
It's largely down to its effectiveness for covering larger areas, think legs or arms. It's generally easy to use and often has a lower price point.
Makes sense.
However, soft wax gel is the one experiencing rapid growth within that category.
Gel. Okay.
Yeah, this seems to be because it combines ease of use with effectiveness for both, professional salon treatments and at-home users. Plus, we're seeing more gel formulations that really emphasize natural and hypoallergenic ingredients, which appeals to a broader range of consumers.
Okay, so cream is the current leader in soft wax, but gel is definitely gaining momentum fast. What about hard wax?
Right. In the hard wax segment, hard wax beads are dominant, those little pellets you melt.
Yeah, they seem to be everywhere now.
Their popularity really stems from their effectiveness, even on coarse hair. Their convenience, you don't need strips. Their reputation for being a bit gentler on the skin, potentially less painful. And they're really well suited for that growing DIY trend because they're pretty easy to melt and apply at home.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense why the beads have become so popular. Now, let's think about the ingredients. Organic versus synthetic waxes. What's the outlook there?
So the organic segment is currently the dominant force when you look at ingredients.
Right, that fits the trend we discussed.
Exactly. It's clearly driven by that strong consumer preference for natural, chemical-free products
Yeah.
and the desire to minimize skin irritation. People are actively seeking out waxes made with natural resins, plant-derived extracts, things like that.
Okay. But what about synthetic?
Well, interestingly, the synthetic segment is also showing rapid growth.
Oh, why is that?
It seems to be due to ongoing innovations in synthetic formulations. They can offer really high effectiveness, maybe longer-lasting results, and increasingly, they're incorporating features like hypoallergenic properties, so they're catering to consumers who prioritize both performance and skin sensitivity.
So both are growing strong, but organic has the current edge in market share.
Got it. How about segmenting the market based on different skin types?
Yeah, the report looks at that too. There's significant existing demand from consumers with dry skin. And that's driving innovation in wax formulations that include moisturizing ingredients, to counteract potential dryness from the waxing process.
Okay.
However, the segment related to oily skin is projected to experience rapid growth.
Oily skin. Any idea why?
The report suggests it could be because individuals with oily skin might feel the need for more frequent hair removal, perhaps, or maybe they prefer the longer-lasting results that waxing can offer compared to, say, shaving. Interesting dynamic. Okay, what about the different areas of the body being waxed? How does that break down?
So the face segment currently holds the largest market share.
Face? Really?
Yeah, likely due to these specialized product formulations needed for facial hair and just specific consumer needs there where precision is often really key.
Okay.
However, the body arms leg segment is the one experiencing the most rapid growth overall.
That makes more intuitive sense, maybe.
Yeah, it reflects that overall increasing demand for convenient and effective hair removal across the larger areas of the body. It's kind of the main event for many people.
Right, general body hair removal driving that volume growth. And finally, how does pricing play into all this? High-end, low-end, mid-range?
Well, high pricing is definitely used as a strategy by some brands. It helps establish a premium brand image, appeals to consumers who really prioritize perceived high quality, and are willing to pay for it.
The luxury segment.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
However, the most rapid growth is associated with medium pricing.
The middle ground.
Exactly. This suggests that products in that price range, the ones that balance affordability with good quality, suitable for both at-home users and maybe salon professionals looking for value, They're capturing the biggest share of the expanding market right now.
So hitting that sweet spot of medium pricing seems pretty crucial for really driving growth volume.
Okay.
Let's try and summarize the key takeaways from this whole report then. What were the author's main conclusions, boiled down?
So the author really emphasizes the significant overall growth of the global hair removal wax market, highlighting that 8.10% CAGR as a key figure to remember.
Right, the big growth number.
Yeah. They specifically point to soft wax cream as a rapidly expanding segment, mainly due to its ease of use and effectiveness.
Okay, soft cream wax.
And they also underscore the fast growth of the coverage segment for body arms legs, driven by that increasing consumer demand for accessible hair removal solutions for those larger areas.
So strong overall growth, with soft wax cream and general body waxing leading the charge in terms of rapid expansion. Got it. Finally, the report included some frequently asked questions, didn't it? Let's quickly run through those just to nail down some of the
Oh,
key facts.
absolutely. Good idea.
Yeah.
So market size in 2025, USD 400 and 270 million.
Check.
The projected growth rate, the CAGR,
Yeah.
8.1%.
Got it.
Leading region in 2025, North America.
Okay.
Fastest growing region forecast. Asia Pacific.
One to watch.
Leading country by market size in 2025, the U.S.
Right.
Key growth drivers mentioned are increasing focus on personal grooming, rising incomes, the popularity of at-home solutions, growth in beauty salons too, advancements in the wax formulations themselves, and the influence of social media.
A whole mix of factors.
Yeah. And finally, a significant segment when considering skin type is the market catering to sensitive skin.
Sensitive skin focus. Perfect. That gives us a really solid overview. So just to recap our deep dive into this hair removal wax market, it's clearly a large and rapidly expanding global industry. While North America currently holds the biggest share, Asia Pacific is absolutely the region to watch for future growth, that
Right.
explosive growth.
Mm-hmm.
Key drivers seem to be this fundamental desire for smooth skin combined with real innovations in wax technology, especially the move towards organic and skin-friendly options.
Right.
The rise of DIY products is a major trend shaping usage, while the market itself has to navigate pretty intense competition and the impact of international tariffs.
Complex environment.
Yeah. And we see this diverse competitive landscape, established giants, emerging niche players, and within the products themselves, soft wax creams and products for general body waxing seem to be experiencing particularly strong growth.
Precisely. I think that covers it well. It's a dynamic market, really reflecting both evolving consumer preferences and the complexities of the current global economy.
Okay, so considering all this, the projected growth, the increasing demand for both professional and at-home solutions, here's maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to ponder. What are the most promising avenues for innovation in the hair removal wax market in the coming years?
Good question.
Could we see breakthroughs in completely new natural ingredients? Maybe novel application methods that somehow minimize discomfort even further? Or perhaps entirely new business models that cater specifically to this ever-growing desire for smooth skin? It's definitely something worth considering. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.